We're now less than a week away from the 2023 North Carolina Republican Party Convention. There's been a lot of developments with this chairman's race, and there's been a lot of developments, and the purpose of this video is going to be talk about some recent developments bubbling up in the Plan of Organization Committee. So, if you're kind of new to inter-party politics, the Plan of Organization with the North Carolina Republican Party, aka NCGOP, the Plan of Organization is basically the Bible of how the party should be run, the handbook, the bylaws, etc., etc. The Plan of Organization Committee is made up of 17 members. 14 of those members are one person representing each of the 14 congressional districts across the state of North Carolina. And then two or three of the members are selected at large, and they're appointed by the chairman of the state Republican Party, who is currently Michael Whatley. And then the other one is also appointed, and he or she acts as the chair of the P.O.O committee. And currently that person is Stephen Walker. So, over the last year, there has been a county that has done some very good things, in my opinion. They're fighting the good fight to make the NCGOP much more grassroots friendly, and to get amendments to the P.O.O heard, because too often the great Matty Lawson, I remember saying this back in 2014 when I first attended the 3rd Congressional District, which is way out east part of the state, 3rd Congressional District Convention 2014. The great Matty Lawson said that too often times things that are sent to these committees, whereas be the Rules Committee, the Resolutions, the Platform, or the Plan of Organization Committee, all these committees, they suck up these proposed changes from the districts and counties. They suck them up, and then they go into the committees are like a black hole, and the committees just wash their hands free of these changes, and they never get heard. Okay, Granville County had a great list of changes to the Plan of Organization Committee, and in my opinion they were all really good changes that if I were on that committee I would have voted in favor of them. Unfortunately, with a lot of times with these committees, the deck is stacked against the grassroots, especially on the Plan of Organization Committee. Most of these people on these committees, there's no term limits. You can stay on this committee for years and years and years until they kick the bucket, basically. Most of them, unfortunately. But the changes that Granville County proposed to the 2023 NCGOP Plan of Organization were very good. And so I'll go ahead and highlight those changes that were all voted down, unfortunately. The first one deals with, in every odd number or even number year, even number years, new language, the county convention, okay? And it says this will resolve a potential conflict that arises if or when a county Plan of Organization has allowed for staggered elections. Okay. Another change is one Granville County tried to pass last year. Okay, and they went through the proper channel of the committee voted voted against the proposed change. Okay, but they got 1,000 copies. And they tried to get 2/3 of the vote at the convention here, and unfortunately it did not pass. But this next change was from last year. It says, automatically upon such member's conviction as defined below of a felony, either within the 10 years prior to or after election, having been elected to such committee. Okay, this provides a 10 year look back period in order to be eligible to serve in leadership. And then there's another change dealing with written notice. As used in this plan shall mean notice sent through the United States Postal Service first class mail. And this USPS first class mail should be also defined as electronic mail or text message. Any method will be considered official notification from the NCGOP, district, county, or precinct, provided the sender is an authorized communications agent and the message is identified with the following tag. This is an official communication from the NCGOP or respective district, county, or precinct. The date postmarked by the USPS shall be conclusive as to the date notice was given. So the proposed change was to change the definition of written notice to include email and text. Currently, in order to comply with the written notice standard, we have to use the U.S. Postal Service. This standard is antiquated and also discriminatory in so much as complying can be cost prohibitive. For example, this written notice that you're reading comes with a price tag of almost $1,000. That price tag stops many of our counties from being able to comply, therefore from being able to participate in the same way as others. I mean, this seriously, the Plan Organization Committee shot that down? What on earth? That's just a common sense change right there. I don't understand. Okay, another one. Let's see. Trying to think. Okay. Amendments. Okay, adding resolutions to be heard in the same manner as planned organization amendments. Okay, so time in a resolution. A resolution may be submitted not inconsistent with the rules of the Republican National Committee by a majority vote of the delegates present and voting at any state convention, provided, however, that the proposed resolution was distributed to the membership of the State Executive Committee, elected at the preceding district convention at least 30 days prior to the convening of the state convention. This distribution requirement shall not apply to the report of the duly appointed resolutions committee, which shall be noticed pursuant to Section 7.d.3.c of this plan. Number 2, proposed resolutions from the floor of state convention. Amendments from the convention floor to proposed resolutions. An amendment to resolution which would materially alter the intent of the original proposed resolution shall not be considered in order unless the proponder, that's a new word, unless the proponder of the proposed resolution shall have first furnished a minimum of 1,000 copies of the proposed resolution and must receive a 2/3 vote of the delegates present and voting at any state convention to be approved. This paragraph applies only to amendments to resolutions that were distributed to the Executive Committee as described above. Number 3, untimely proposed resolutions. Proposed resolutions not distributed to the State Executive Committee 30 days prior to the convening of the State Convention shall not be considered in order unless the proponder of the proposed resolution shall have first furnished a minimum of 1,000 copies of the proposed resolution, and it must receive a 2/3 vote of the delegates present and voting at any state convention. These proposed additions will make introducing resolutions have the exact language that pertains to the planned organization. This will give delegates the opportunity to ensure that their resolution will be on the agenda, heard, and voted on with a simple majority of the elected delegates present threshold to adopt. So that one, again, that's a common sense change that should have passed the Planning Organization Committee. It's a nice rewrite, making this particular part of the plan of organization easier to read and more compact. This is just, well, it's poo in the poo. Just Okay. Next one deals with a change to the plan organization to take the primaries from open primaries where unaffiliated voters can vote in the Republican primary. Now this says only Republicans can vote in the primary. Passionate debate on both sides on this issue. Ultimately, I got to tell you that I agree. We have to close these primaries. It's look, we're not disenfranchising anybody from voting in the primary. If you feel as passionate, well, look, if you're unaffiliated and you feel so passionate about Ron DeSantis in this upcoming presidential primary, register as a Republican, vote for Ron DeSantis, and then if you want to, you can change back. There's, really, this is about making sure that there's integrity when we pick nominees for the Republican Party in these primary elections. It helps get the best candidate and not some wonky rhino like Mitt Romney. It helps put more true conservatives in there and less rhinos. So this, again, is another common sense. But again, okay. So this is the North Carolina Republican Party State Executive Committee shall, per North Carolina General Statute 163.19 by resolution, instruct that their chairman does report to the North Carolina Board of Elections that only registered Republican voters may vote in the primary of the North Carolina Republican Party. The resolution shall be delivered no later than the first day of December preceding the primary, when the withdrawal is to become effective, which is no later than December 1st of 2023. Number 2, be it resolved, per General Statute 163.19, all North Carolina Republican Party primary elections will remain open only to registered Republicans and shall remain closed to any voter registered as any other party affiliation or registered as an unaffiliated voter as of December 1 of 2023. Granville County's reasoning for this addition will give clear direction to the State Executive Committee and their chairman to close our primaries. Doing so will allow those that are committed Republicans to choose the candidates that best represent our conservative principles and values. We hope you will support these amendments to the 2023 Plan of Organization. We hope that you will give these amendments the fair opportunity to be heard and to be voted on with a simple majority threshold for adoption. Again, and this was signed by every single member of the Granville County Executive Committee. Every single member signed off on this. The whole County Executive Committee supported these. And, with when you're on a Plan of Organization Committee or a Resolutions Committee, my opinion, unless a change or resolution is so far out there in outer space, I would say you would want something that would strengthen the party. I think closed primaries would definitely strengthen the party. Why would this not get a vote with the convention? I don't understand. Now, what Granville County did, was they raised a question on the mail, the amendment to the Plan of Organization deals with the mail. The matter was brought before the committee on April 15th of 2023 by Michael Magnanti, Vice Chair of the Granville County Republican Party. He asked the committee to determine that emailed was encapsulated by the word mail in Section XA3 of the Plan of Organization. And the decision of the Plan Authorization Committee Chair and State General Counsel was that the word mailed means United States mail and does not include email. So then the question was presented, does the word mail in section XA3 of the P.O.O. include email? The opinion of then the Plan Authorization Committee is that it is the opinion of the committee that the word mailed in section XA3 means United States mail and does not include email. And in support of this determination, the committee notes that United States mail is the most common meaning of the word mailed, and that it was the intention of the convention that the word mail mean United States mail at the time of the adoption of the provision. As the plan otherwise references email, the absence of the word email in this section buttresses, that's a word, buttresses, the interpretation that the word mailed means United States mail. Accordingly, for a proposal to amend the plan of authorization to be considered timely, it must be mailed via United States mail to the members of the Executive Committee. As provided for in the plan, this opinion was adopted unanimously by the State Plan Authorization Committee on April 15th, 2023. So all 17 members, instead of going for, again, a grassroots-friendly proposal that would help more counties get their word out, they voted against it, like, no, we got to stick to this very expensive, very outdated, we got to stick to snail mail. Even though, really, these same plan authorization members, I'm sure, do 90% of their day-to-day business via a computer, via the internet. It's crazy, it's hypocritical, it's just bleh. So, okay, now, what do I have now? Okay. Give me just a second here. Okay. So, now an emergency meeting was called. Okay. Okay. We hear from both Billy Miller, the NCGOP parliamentarian, as he is asking for this interpretation, and from someone from the Granville GOP. The question presented is, how should Section 7D3C, which requires that any business on which notice has not been given shall not be taken up by the convention, by 2/3 vote agrees to, unless the convention body by a 2/3 vote agrees to address said business. And Section 10A1, which details the timing of proposed amendments, be reconciled if the committee believes they are in a conflict. See Monday evening virtually, Stephen. Okay, according to Granville County, it states, we have been discussing this procedure with the NCGOP and have sought clarification since last year's convention. We have had multiple conversations over the past 2 weeks in reference to this procedure, requesting feedback, and have been assured that as long as we follow this procedure, we will have a vote. We have had multiple correspondence with the NCGOP leadership in reference to the procedure that we must follow to get the proposed amendments on the agenda for a vote with a simple majority to adopt. Not one time has anyone suggested that we would need to reach a 2/3 majority threshold to have the convention take up the matter. In fact, the entire reason for sending the proposed amendments through the U.S. Postal Service was to be certain we reach the written notice threshold, which we have done. We have emailed the proposed amendments to the State Executive Committee and delegates to the State Convention multiple times. We are not trying to hide or suppress anything. On February 9th, 2023, we emailed Billy Miller asking him if he would let us know if he wanted us to do anything else so we could satisfy him as the presumptive NCGOP convention chair. We forwarded that email to Chairman Watley. We still as of May 31st, have not heard back from either of them. Why am I not surprised? Now, on February 3rd, 2023, we forwarded that same email to Jason Simmons and heard back from him. I like Jason Simmons personally. He's a good guy. I mean, any kind of information request I have, especially with the convention, with these races and the credentials report, he has always given me what I ask for. So I like Jason Simmons. He's a good guy. I hope, especially if John Kane wins next weekend, he'll stick around. So here's the reply according to Jason Simmons. Received. Will review and get back to you shortly, Jason. On May 26, 2023, it is our understanding that Billy Miller requested a special meeting. Attending that meeting were Billy Miller, Stephen Walker, Philip Thomas, Kyle Offerman, and Jason Simmons. We were not notified of the meeting until after it had already taken place. At that meeting, it is our understanding that Billy Miller informed the group of his interpretation of what the plan of organization instructs to have proposed amendments voted on. There was no consensus among the group. Make no mistake, this is an attempt to prevent you from voting. Folks, whether you support the proposed amendments or not, it is not the issue. The issue is they do not want you to have any input to or say or vote. This is a slap in the face to all of us. Do not let this stand, okay? So then we had the meeting on Memorial Day evening. Weird, huh? Like they couldn't wait for Tuesday night? Really? Crazy. Okay. And then let's see. Give me just a second. This thing's not want to shush up. Alright. Okay. Okay, then now what happened was we had Zoom call. And anybody, the nice thing that the NCGOP did was they opened up the Zoom call to not just the 17 plan of organization members, but they opened up to pretty much anyone on the state executive committee, including yours truly, as well as anybody involved in any of the grassroots groups, Liberty First, Conservative Coalition North Carolina, NC Election Integrity Institution. So they opened up to a lot of people. We had over 150 people, and actually the neat thing was this Zoom call had a cap of 100 people. Now, Stephen Walker, the chair of the Plan Organization Committee, could have said, look, we're going to limit this to 100 people. To the rest of you, heck with you. But actually, Stephen Walker did something very honorable. He paid, it was to increase capacity over 100 people, he had to pay $199. Now, he took this money from his business account, but still, it is a very honorable move. And I want to commend, I want to praise him for that, definitely. Okay, so after the meeting, there was a Zoom meeting with 150 people, including me, and a lot of other good patriots, and some more in the establishment, but it is what it is. So after the meeting, there was another Zoom meeting, and this one went to closed session with just the 17 Plan of Organization Committee members, and if you know anything about me, if you've been watching videos on this channel for a while now, you know that I hate when people play the closed session card. And that's a big reason why I moved back from Florida to North Carolina, because the Florida GOP, they just play this, they abuse the closed session card. Here in North Carolina, with the Republican Party, it's not as bad, but still, to get to the real juicy stuff on this, we're hoping that it would have been still an open session when the actual ruling went down. And then they said the ruling will be posted on the convention website like within 24 hours. Well, it as of now, this is Saturday, this is 5 days later, it is still, as of 3:08 p.m., it has still not been posted on the convention website. But I will say thank you to Granville County Republican Party and Michael Magnanti doing great work over there for actually sending me a copy of the ruling. This I got at 7:15 this morning. It says, for immediate release, no big surprise, in a 12-4 decision, the NCGOP Plan of Organization Committee ruled we have not met the threshold of a timely amendment, and in doing so, they ignored their previous opinion. Well, what was their previous opinion? Again, from Chad McHenry, Granville County Chair, and Michael Magnanti, Granville County Vice Chair, there were 3 questions presented back on May 19th of 2022. The questions were, number 1, under the State Plan of Organization, does a change in the membership of the State Executive Committee waive the requirement that proposed amendments to the State Plan of Organization be mailed to the State Executive Committee 30 days prior to the State Convention? Number 2, under the current State Plan of Organization, what is the proper procedure for an untimely proposed Plan of Organization amendment to be considered and passed? And number 3, under the current State Plan of Organization, are amendments to the State Plan of Organization proposed by county or district conventions treated differently than any other amendments not contained in the Plan of Organization's committee report? And this was answered by Russ Ferguson, the General Counsel of the NCGOP, as well as Plan of Organization Committee Chair Stephen Walker. The answer is Article 10 of the NCGOP Plan of Organization provides that the state P.O.O. can be amended by a simple majority vote of the delegates at convention, provided that the amendment is mailed to the membership of the State Executive Committee prior to 30 days from the convening of the NCGOP State Convention. While, as a result of unforeseen turmoil caused by the courts, some districts did not conduct their conventions before 30 days of the convening of the State Convention, the State Executive Committee continued to exist 30 days prior to the start of the State Convention. The membership of the State Executive Committee may have changed as the result of the turmoil. This did not cause the committee to cease to exist, nor did it stop the work of the State Executive Committee. Thus, according to the plain language of the State P.O.O., any proposed amendment will be deemed untimely unless it was mailed to the membership of the State Executive Committee 30 days or more prior to the State Convention. The mere fact that certain members of the Executive Committee were changed within that 30 days has no bearing on the timeliness of an amendment. The proper procedure for an untimely amendment to the State Plan of Organization is spelled out in Article 10A.3. It states, proposed amendments to the plan shall not be considered in order unless the proponder of the proposed amendment shall have first furnished a minimum of 1,000 copies of the proposed amendment, and it must receive a 2/3 vote of the delegates present and voting at any state convention. It is clear that in order for the untimely amendment to be adopted, it must receive favorable votes from 2/3 of the delegates present and voting. In addition, pursuant to State P.O.O. Section 7D3C, in order for business such as an amendment that was untimely submitted to be considered, it must receive a 2/3 majority vote of the delegates. Thus, the untimely amendment must meet a 2/3 majority threshold to be considered and a 2/3 majority vote to be approved. There does not appear to be any provision of the State P.O.O. that treats amendments proposed by county or district conventions any differently than other amendments, regardless of whether the proposed amendment is timely or untimely. Accordingly, amendments proposed by county or district conventions via resolution or other matter must meet the requirements for timely or untimely amendments as detailed above. Okay, so there's been a lot of, excuse me a minute. Yeah. There's some issues at hand here. One is the wonkiness, the plan of organization is not an orderly document. It's like, well, if this piece of pasta on that wall is fettuccine, and then this piece of pasta on the back wall is Mussolini, there cannot be a full Italian dinner because neither one has exactly the same amount of letters. So it's like we're going to take something from Article 7, right, and then way over here, a full 3 sections later in Article 10, we're going to take something here, take something from Article 7, Article 10, make a decision, and say we're good. It's crazy. Okay, and then we get some... we have majority vote. Let's see, 2/3 vote. Okay. So it's, okay, which is it? Now, can the P.O.O be adopted? Can somebody on the day of the convention make an amendment to the P.O.O, and do they need 2/3? One section says 2/3, and another section says majority, which is 50% plus 1. It's crazy. Okay, so back to this, the letter here. It says, okay. So they ruled against their own opinion from a year ago. It says, according to Granville County, to be clear, we are freaking pissed. And I don't blame them. There was a Zoom meeting on this subject this past Monday night, Memorial Day, May 29th, 2023. Almost 150 of us, the Grassroots Patriots, were in attendance. There was a 12-4 opinion issued yesterday on June 1st. There was no mention of last year's opinion. It's like Serve Pro, like it did not even happen. We've written that they want to stifle your vote and your voice. That is hyperbole. We believe that there is not a deliberate or organized effort to stop us from voting by Billy Miller or Stephen Walker. While not deliberate, that is what is happening. We can make this assertion because of the actions of Billy Miller and others since the opinion has been released. To be clarified, Billy Miller is not a deceitful man. The fact is that Billy Miller has been supportive of us getting a vote, and we are grateful. We believe that Billy is an honest, thoughtful man. We're grateful to have his support and look forward to working with him over the coming year to have a positive impact on our plan and our party. Our opinion is Billy's interpretation is wrong, but not malicious. We do not have any ill will toward him, and we believe his character remains intact. We can agree without being disagreeable. To those of us that have sent overzealous emails to Billy or anyone else, you've missed the mark. I agree with that. You're wrong with having sent them, and frankly, you let your emotions get the best and better of you. We apologize to anyone that was hurt or received derogatory emails because of the call to action we release. We want to help, but not hurt. We don't believe that the chairman of the Planarization Committee, Stephen Walker, is malicious or trying to suppress the grassroots from participating. Steve was in the 4-member minority that believes we have not. He was in the 4-member minority that believes We have met the threshold to have our proposals added to the agenda and voted on. We thank him for his support. We also thank Committee Chairman, Vice Chairman Dan Barry for his guidance and support during this process. While we disagree with the majority, we will do our best to persuade all of the delegates present, all of you patriots, whether you agree with our proposed amendments or not, is not the issue. What is at issue is your voice, your vote. We encourage all of your support having our proposed amendments to the plan of organization heard at the convention. Let us vote. It is our sincere hope that the 4 committee members in the minority and Convention Chair Billy Miller join us in persuading the delegates so we can reach the 2/3 threshold. In conclusion, attacking people, especially people we don't know, is bad and against what we stand for. Like, really, come on, man. I mean, sending, well, if you don't rule the way I want you to rule, go after yourself or go to hell. Now, that has no place anywhere. Not just in inter-party politics, but also anywhere in life, basically. Okay. We are for spirited, honest persuasion and debate. We believe we have been wronged. All of us have been wronged. Help us to make it a right by supporting a vote. This year it's Granville County, but next year it may be your county. Decide that despite what 12 committee members' opinion is, you are the minority. Sincerely, the Granville County Republican Party Executive Committee. Very good. Okay, so maybe I'll do a quick follow-up of who exactly voted for the grassroots and against. I already have a pretty good idea, but need some confirmation there from Granville County. Anyway, talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.